Okay? In May, okay, so we get down the road to May, that forage is mostly water. So it's 44% dry. That means it's got a lot of water. That would tell me it's excellent. Crude protein would tell me it's medium, right? Because that's 6 to 12, so it's not above it. Our native grass rarely would get to 13-ish% protein. TDN 50, that's a really good number. That's a good number for forage. Crude fiber is 21, so barely above 20, which would tell me excellent. So the dry matter would tell me excellent, the TDN would tell me excellent, the crude fiber would tell me excellent, crude protein would be medium, and I know it's immature, okay? So April, May is when our warm season grasses first start to grow in this state, so it's immature forage, we'd call it excellent, okay? And then in August, we split the difference, right? That native grass is headed out. It's still growing. It's still got some color to it, but we know it's got a seed head. It's getting ready to go into dormancy after first frost or whatever in the next month or two. It would be medium in quality, okay? So same thing, everything would indicate medium to you except the crude protein is just a little low. But everything else points to medium, okay? Fescue hay, immature. Again, I told you could look at that word if you want to get hung up on one. 18 on the protein. It's high on dry matter, but that's because we cut it and we dried it out. Okay, so because it's a hay, I can't get hung up on the dry matter. TDN is really high in the 60s, crude fiber really low in the 20s. It's an excellent quality forage, even though it's dry, because we're the ones that manipulated that. Prairie hay, 90, again on dry matter, we cut it for hay, 6 on the protein, 50s on TDN, 30s on the fiber. We know that that is a mature, typically, type forage. We put prairie hay up in the summer, okay, so it's not really young, it's not fully mature. We'd call that a medium quality forage. Oat straw, that's by far the worst one on the list. It's dry, because it was mature, then we cut it up and baled it into straw. Well below 6, just kind of so-so on the TDN, incredibly high in fiber. If any of you guys have bought or used straw hay, you know there's no leaf, it's just basically stems, okay? Very low quality forage. And then the last one, corn silage, if I just look at the numbers on it, I'm tempted to call it medium, okay? The crude proteins, certainly in the medium range. The crude fiber, in this case, would still be excellent. TDN is really high, but what else did we do to corn silage that we've got to think about? We changed the particle size and consistency of it. So we cut it up, we fermented it. That makes it certainly an excellent quality forage. So some of these, we've got to remember when we're evaluating them, you know, is that forage that way, or did we alter it and change it in a positive or negative way, okay? So based on that, then we come down there and using your intake guide sheets, yours is pink this year. I don't know what color it says on there. I didn't put a color, so that's good. I'm smart enough to take that out because we never use the same colors. Okay, so for a poor quality forage, what is my intake guideline for a dry cow or a dry ruminant animal? And it says assume unsupplemented. 1.5% of body weight. So poor quality, we're going to look up, we see it's 1.5% of body weight. What about an excellent quality forage, unsupplemented? 2.5. Okay, so everybody see where we're finding those on the sheet? We're just looking up out of that table a dry cow, and then whether it's excellent, medium, or poor. Okay, so then native grass in August would be medium. What's my intake guide for medium? Split the difference, you get 2.0. So 2.5 is your minimum. Yep. Yep, no. Do one and then another. Alright. And then we've got excellent again for fescue hay, so 2.5. Medium for prairie hay, 2.0. Poor for our oat straw, 1.5. And excellent for my corn silage is 2.5. Okay. So we determine the quality, we talked through that together. And then we looked up our dry matter intake from our pink sheet for a dry cow. Now we're going to do the same for lactating cows. Some of y'all are already ahead of me, and that's fine. So native grass in February, a lactating cow will eat more than a gestating cow. So her intake, if you look at your sheet, is what? 2.0, okay? So she'll eat a 0.5% more body weight of the same quality forage. If we look at the excellent quality forage, it's not going to be as big of a difference. That forage is already excellent quality, and so our increase is not as much. So it's 2.7, okay? And then we kind of split the difference again for medium, we go to 2.3. So excellent again for fescue would be 2.7. For prairie hay, its medium would be 2.3. Oat straw would be 2.0 because it's poor. And then our silage is 2.7, again, because it is excellent, okay? So, getting the quality, this is one of those that people that don't understand big picture will hate me for, because if you look up and you say something is poor quality and I say it should be excellent quality, you're going to miss it, right? Because your intake guide's off, so then all your other math's going to be off. Okay, so make sure on these problems like this that kind of feed off each other that you look up the right quality and get that right. On today's homework, you'll have to make some judgment calls. Okay, like, well, 3 things tell me medium and 2 tell me poor, sort of stuff. Okay, if I give you something on the test, it should be black and white. I will not give you something that you're going to have to like weigh 3 versus 2. It's going to be like almost everything it should tell you it's excellent, medium, or poor. So while yes, I will count it wrong if you do not get the right one, I will try to find forages that are not tricky or leave a lot out for you guys to make judgment on. Okay? So the next part then is, okay, we classified our forage, we know how much, I'm going to switch sides, we know how much those cows are going to eat as a percent of body weight. But then everything, when we talk about ruminant animal diets, remember we do on a dry matter basis. So the next step would be to take that percentage times the dry matter to get our dry matter intake. Okay? If we want to go the other way, we can take our dry matter intake divided by the dry matter and get as-fed intake. So again, these are pretty basic nutrition principles, so we'll do it both ways, just so we keep getting comfortable with that. So down at the bottom it says for a dry beef cow, she weighs 1,100 pounds, so pretty smallish kind of beef cow by most of our standards today. It wants to know what our dry matter intake will be and then what our as-fed intake will be. So we just left this up here. You can copy it from up above in your sheet. So we left those intake guides we just wrote down in part R4 for a dry cow. Let you scribble those down real quick. And then we're going to take these percents times 1,100 pounds to get our dry matter intake. So if we take 1,100 pounds times 1.5%, what number do I get? 16.5 pounds. Very good. So 16.5. If I take 2.5% times 1,100 pounds, what do I get? 27.5. Very good. And then medium, 2.0 times 1,100 pounds. That one you may do in your head, you get 22. Okay, so again, kind of splitting the difference. And if we've done them once, they're going to be the same throughout. So excellent, 27.5. Medium, 22. Poor, 16.5. Excellent, 27.5. Okay? So that's my dry matter intake. So again, pretty big swing. Even on, we pull all the water out just for that. From a poor to an excellent quality forage, we're talking 11 pounds difference. Okay? So a huge difference. And this one's lower in nutrients, it's lower in energy. So she's eating a lot less, and what she's eating is lower in quality, lower in nutrients. So she's getting less out of what she's eating too. All right? Then if we want to get to as-fed intake, so how much is she actually consuming with water, or how it is out there in the pasture or in that hay bale, we take that number and we divide by our dry matter. So this is where, if I didn't give you those on that sheet, you could look at one of those in the yellow sheet, and that's exactly where we got those percentages from. So if you look up native grass mature, or weathered mature, sorry, in February, you're going to see it's 93.6% dry matter. So if we take that dry matter intake divided by our dry matter, we'll get our as-fed intake. So the first one you do that, what number do you get? 17.6, very good. And I didn't mention it, but on intakes like this in pounds, 1 decimal is perfectly